This video tutorial will show you how to use the table of contents in the map editor. Now, the table of contents essentially dictates which data is available or present on your map. So to start, we'll close the overview map just so we can see things a little bit better. So I'll close this. You can always get it back by going to View, Overview Map. But now here in the TOC, we see a bunch of plus and minus boxes along with check boxes. So what the checkbox indicates is that this layer is currently active and visible on your map. However, if I expand Tier 1 here using this plus box, then I see inside of that there are also other layers which can be expanded and which also have different data inside of them. Now, as you can see here in the base layer, we do not have all the boxes checked here, which means the rivers data or lakes data or cities data here is currently not visible on the map. Now if I scroll down and expand the NWI wetlands, I see that I've drilled down to the furthest level because there is no more plus box, and all I have here is the symbology for an NWI wetland. So I look on my project extent, and I see that I do not have this blue outline with a fill, and thus I do not have NWI wetlands on my site. Now, for example, we see here Tier 2 is not selected. However, inside of Tier 2, we have two layers which are selected. But since this layer governs these two, I need to have Tier 2 selected in order for these to turn on my map. So I'll turn on Tier 2, and now you can see pink features in my project site, which corresponds to the NRCS soils if I scroll over with hydric inclusion. Another thing to note is that we've added much local data onto CoreJD. Some of this data may be pertinent to you and some of it may not. But for example, if we expand the US layer, we see here that we have PLSS data, which is the section, township, and range, for a majority of the United States. However, right now, this layer is currently grayed out. As you can see, the color difference here, and the checkbox cannot be clicked on. So now what I can do is zoom in just a little bit. Zoom in like that. And now all of a sudden, these layers are no longer grayed out, and I can check the checkboxes. What that means is that that data is scale dependent. So I have to be at a certain scale to view that data. I'll close this back up. Now, a couple last things to note in the TOC is that we also have the Bing Map road layer currently active. If I turn that off, I'll turn on Bing Map, and I get the aerial view of my site. You can also turn on the Bing Map hybrid, which includes the aerial as well as the road labels. Then we have the topographic layer, which is the USGS provided topographic imagery. I simply turn this on. Now I have the topo map. One last thing to note on the TOC is that there are context-specific menus. So for example, I have the project extent here. Now let's say I was zoomed out quite a bit from my site. Then I could always right-click here on the project extent and zoom to layer. If I zoom to the layer, all of a sudden I'm right back to where my project extent exists. The same applies for any of these layers here. So that wraps up how to use the table of contents in the map editor of CoreJD.